Hey folks, welcome back. So in today's video, I want to discuss with you AI addiction and AI psychosis and why, from my perspective, as someone who works in psychedelic therapy, these were obviously going to happen. This was totally predictable. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going away anytime soon. So I want to unpack this with you. So join me and let's explore it. All right, so let's go ahead and unpack this a bit. Before we do, I just want to say, first of all, a warm hello and a warm welcome to all of you, whether you're an old viewer or a new viewer, and this is your first time seeing my content. My name is Dave, and I'm a coach. I'm a hypnotherapist. I work in psychedelic therapy. I support people around deep level transformations. So that's kind of the context that I'm speaking at this from here. Now, from my perspective, it has been wild, but so predictable to see people go through what's been happening over the last year, I guess, but especially over the last 6 months with AI, where we have people who are getting addicted to AI, especially as a AI boyfriend or girlfriend, as an AI therapist, as an AI counselor. Also, we see people getting kind of spun out from AI, where they have perhaps a delusional idea, they feed it to AI, AI kind of takes it and amplifies it rather than checks them on their delusion, and they end up getting overly kind of manic and end up in some sort of a psychotic state. It's really sad to me to see this, but the sad part about it is how this is going to continue to be an issue and why it's going to continue to be an issue. So from my perspective, there's a real teachable moment here, and then there's a real opportunity from our engagement with AI to start to learn about what needs to be corrected and made right for us as human beings. Okay. So from my perspective, primarily what this demonstrates isn't about AI or tech, although debatably there's a lot we can learn about our relationship to AI and tech from what we're seeing in these episodes. But also from my perspective, it's much more about the blind spot we have in society around our needs relationally and the role of relationships in how we feel as human beings, and the massive gaping hole in most people's lives in terms of healthy, abundant, safe, connected relationships. Now, you may be asking, what the hell does this have to do with psychedelic therapy? Because didn't you mention psychedelic therapy in the intro? And I did. So let me connect the dots a little bit here for you. So it's a very unlikely combination in psychedelic therapy. It's not common to combine, let's say, attachment theory and understanding the underlying needs of the nervous system through relationship and how that shapes the way we are as a person by the kind of developmental relational vibes and tones and the ways we were treated when we're younger, how that connects to wiring the system at a deep level and how that connects to what happens in psychedelic therapy. See, here's the thing. Most psychedelic therapists are just dealing at the level of concept, of content, of idea, of insight, right? And it's rarer for a psychedelic therapist to be looking at what's happening at an unconscious communication level in a session, what's happening, what's coming up as a deep level communication of the body and mind and its patterning, and perhaps where it's stuck or where it needs healing or where it needs connection and attunement and support to help it shake off or let go or transform whatever pattern needs fixing to help the person heal, essentially. So what I'm saying in kind of a rambling way here is there's a deep, deep connection between our attachment style and how we're treated and how we're related to, especially when we're young, but quite frankly, for our entire lives, because your brain never stops adapting to stimulus. There's a deep relationship between that and how that patterns our nervous system, right? The holding patterns, the tensions, the fears, the hangups, the anxieties, the needs, the desperations, the things we won't reach out for, the things we do reach out for, all that. And then when you take psychedelic medicine, if you know what to look for, that's exactly what arises in a session. That's fundamentally, primarily what the system will start to move and express and share and show, right? So again, this is an unusual perspective. Not a lot of psychedelic therapists take this view, but this intersection to me has been profoundly educational and has been wildly transformational for the clients that I work with. Okay. So there's a deep, deep thing between how we're related to how that formats our nervous system. And that's an ongoing thing. right? So whether or not you have an abundance of safe, friendly, positive, supportive connections in your life with other people or not, the way you're related to by the primary people in your life, your friends, your, coworkers, your bosses, your, family, etc. All of this shapes how we feel, what's happening inside. In my perspective, this is really at the core. This is really at the heart of the collective kind of mental health crisis that we see. What it really is underneath the mental health crisis is a crisis of disconnection and a crisis of poor relating to each other because we've abstracted relating out through these screens. Right now we have parasocial relationships. We have relating that's all through screens, and it's curated and scripted and distorted through weird incentives and all that stuff. And so we have this, we already were on a trend, in my opinion. I think we've been off track for a very long time. And I think this is a blind spot in society. And we've been on this trend for, I don't know how long, maybe forever, but certainly let's say since the latter half of the 20th century, since the 1950s forward, we've been on this trend of more and more disconnect, more and more social disconnect, more abstraction, more isolation, more judgment, more pushing each other away. And because of this, we now have an epidemic level of people who are not getting their social needs met. Now, I say need here. This is not a desire. This is not a nicety. This is not something that's nice to have if you have it, but if you don't, it's all good. Being related to properly and having healthy social connections is a nervous system need. There are studies out there that show that if you're not socializing, it's worse for you than smoking, right? So wrap your head around that, right? So bringing this all back around. So in comes AI now, right? And so we have this society full of people with essentially gaping holes in their being where connection should be, where we are malnourished and starving to be validated, understood, reflected back to cleanly and clearly without someone's judgment and bullshit and weird overlay on top of it. Being played with by peers, being appreciated, being respected, being welcomed, all these things that we know relationally feel good, right? Our nervous system needs those kinds of experiences to feel balanced and safe and whole. So we're a society of people lacking that. We have a society that has a blind spot around that and justifies treating each other like shit and being dismissive and judgy and condescending and controlling and all that, right? So that's the pretext. Then in comes AI. And AI is, for all its flaws, and there are plenty, I'm playing with it all the time, there are plenty of flaws there. AI, in terms of being a relational interface, it's always there. So it's always available to you. It is designed to add on to whatever you say. So it's designed to kind of say yes and reflect back to you whatever it is you bring to it. So if you say, "Oh, I had this dream about dragons," it'll go, "Wow, that's fascinating. Tell me about what the dragon looked like." It'll say yes energetically to whatever you bring to it. Think of it like a mirror that resonates and amplifies whatever is in the image of the mirror. So whatever you bring to the AI, it's going to amplify that. So if you bring anxieties, if you bring fears, if you bring needs, whatever it is. So we bring in this technology, and it's designed to very finely track nuances in your language, nuances in your thought patterns, the way you form ideas, things like this, and to be able to respond consistently with a yes to keep you engaged with the AI, to keep you, and also to help you along this path of what it calls coherence. It says yes over and over and over and validates you, okay? And it kind of fills up your cup of validation. And suddenly you're getting a little bit manic. You're getting a little excited. You're getting grateful. You feel connected, right? So these places where our deepest needs are, and safe relationship is the deepest of needs, I think, are places where we are also deeply vulnerable. And I'm not saying that to make you paranoid and to try to self-protect necessarily. I'm saying that we need to be aware if I'm approaching AI from a needy place because I'm not getting because there's just something missing in my life structurally. I don't have friends. I don't have family. I don't have play in my life. I'm not seen. I'm not understood, whatever it is. If there's something structurally wrong and I have this gaping hole, I'm going to go to this thing that's designed to meet me there again and again and again. It's only a matter of time before it's going to start to distort my experience, and I'm going to start to feel attached to it as if it were a real attachment figure, as if it were a real person or real thing. And this is at the root of AI addiction. And this is at the root of, again, the mental health crisis overall, but AI addiction and AI psychosis, right? So the psychosis comes from being told yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, imagine if someone in your life said yes to you with everything you said, no matter how crazy or poorly formed of an idea or foolish or, whatever it is, someone was just constantly saying yes to you all the time. That will make you manic. That will start to amplify you and spin you out and distort you, right? So I hope you're starting to see what I'm saying here. The real lesson here is that we need to learn how to fill that hole. We need to learn how to get our relational needs met, both in our own self-relationship, in my opinion. I think this is an underrated place to get our relational needs met. It's the way we relate to ourselves, developing secure attachment with ourselves, and then also with people in our lives. It doesn't have to be family. If family's not the right fit for you, maybe it's friends, but people in our lives, somewhere we need secure, safe, attuned, affirming, belonging, connected, real relationships with real human beings. If we don't fix this as a societal problem, it's going to get more and more dramatic, and people are going to fall in love with AIs. They're going to want to marry AIs. I mean, we're already seeing this. They're going to want AIs as life partners. And this is really, really about people trying to cover up a need by being dependent on something external rather than learning how to meet it in themselves and truly fill that hole and heal themselves. So this is what I've seen is at the heart of all this work. At the very center of all this work, from my point of view, there are many ways we could describe healing and awakening and trauma resolution and psychedelic therapy and all of this. But at the heart of it, I think it's about relating. At the heart of mental illness, at the heart of personal growth, at the heart of everything is our relationship either to the world, to ourselves, to abstract experiences in life, to ideas, concepts, beliefs, but it's relationships the whole way down. And to disclose a little bit here with you guys, that's not a premise that's not a bias of mine. That's not something I started with, believing. This is something I've discovered through trial and error the long way and kind of arrived at relationship, kind of taking the very long road there. So if this is true, as human beings, if we're fundamentally wired around relationship being the foundation of our sense of safety and well-being for our nervous system, we need to put that first and tend to that first, not be reliant on externals, which people are going to do. I mean, this message will go unheeded for sure. But theoretically and ideally, if we want to be healthy, this is what we've got to fix. Instead of just looking at AI to relate to people properly, we need to relate to ourselves and relate to each other properly. Anyways, I'm rambling here, so I'm going to cut it here. But my point is, this is why this is predictable. And when you start to see this hole, this lack of secure attachment in society, in ourselves, in our relationships, it's like seeing the Matrix. You suddenly see so much of why the world is the way it is and why people are the way they are and why society is the way it is. It all hinges on the quality of our relating and understanding how to relate properly and understanding what it means to relate properly. We've got really distorted, fucked up, wonky maps of that. And it's going to take work to correct that. But honestly, just from my heart to you, whoever you are, this is the work. This is the center of the bullseye. And also, if we don't fix it, AI is just going to make us crazy, truly. Because we are not centered. We have no way to remain present when it's pushing and pulling on us. Right. So this is important to fix. Anyways, gotta stop rambling. If you've watched the whole video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Do me a favor, if you are not a subscriber yet, subscribe. If you are a subscriber or you're just watching this, this lands for you, if this stimulates thought, do a favor, leave a comment. I'm trying to break out of the algorithmic stasis I've been in for a while. I want to grow the channel. I want to reach more people. Got a lot more to say, but let's wrap it here for now. Big love. Take care.